For years, I've used Rattle Can Primer on my prototype parts, and recently I've switched to a 2K primer for my prototyping. This significantly reduces my production time, but it's smelly and is pretty nasty stuff. Well, what if you're a student or a crafter and you don't have access to a spray booth? One option is going to be gesso. I'm going to show you how I prime my prototype parts in gesso and how I finish them.
My name is Eric Strebel. I'm an industrial designer. Welcome to my channel about product design and making. Alfred backpack hanger in stainless steel and aluminum, designed by me, holds your backpack, lets you charge your phone, holds your keys. Super versatile. So I'm packing up some here that were recently sold. They're all packaged up in earth-friendly cardboard boxes. I put a little note on them, and it goes off to the customer. Thanks for those of you who've purchased recently. It really helps support the channel. We're going to put some of this gesso on a piece of urethane modeling foam. First, I need to do a little machining on the back side of the foam. I'm using my drill press, which is set up to do milling. I have a cross slide vise here, and I have a video about drill press machining, and I'll link to that up here on the top right of the screen. This urethane is ideally suited for this kind of milling because it's very soft and very machinable. There's a USB-C connector that goes into this, and this is just a mock-up, a little prototype, like a visual prototype that we're making. And so we just want to have a cable coming out the back. There's no actual capabilities or functionality to this product. It's just a visual mock-up. I've previously sculpted and sanded this piece of urethane, and this is a wireless phone charger. Just a visual mock-up. Let's go ahead and apply some of the gesso. I'm going to use a foam brush, and I'm literally pouring it right onto the model and painting it onto the urethane, and I'm trying to fill all the holes in the urethane. That's my goal. When you prime something, whether you're using Rattle Can, automotive primer, or this gesso, your goal is to fill all the holes and get a smooth, uniform surface that you can paint your top coat on.
This is what it looks like after one coat on both sides. Still got some pinholes. So let's put on another coat.
So, to speed up the drying process of the gesso, I'm going to use my food dehydrator. Yes, I happen to have a food dehydrator, and I use this mainly for drying out my filament for my 3D printer, and it significantly speeds up the drying process of the gesso. I'm going to repeat this gesso and drying process multiple more times until I have a relatively smooth, pinhole-free surface that we can sand. The thing about the gesso is that it takes a little bit longer. So this is the trade-off of not using, let's say, a Rattle Can or a 2K primer. With the 2K primer, I can load on 3 or 4 pretty heavy coats in a couple hours and let that cure and then sand it and be almost done. The gesso takes a little longer, takes a little more work. Those are the trade-offs that you make. But if you don't have a nice spray booth or a place to do that, and this is a great alternative. Now, at around the 6th coat, I'm starting to thin down the gesso a little bit with some water. And this just helps keep the layers nice and smooth so they don't get too rough, because I'm going to start sanding soon. You can see here on the 7th coat, you're getting a nice bone white kind of finish, and it's not too rough. And this is a function of adding a little bit of liquid or some water here as I'm moving along. So I'm going to start and do the first sanding with 320 to knock down any high spots. You can even see I've even sanded through, almost through in a few spots. And so back to adding some more gesso, and I'm using straight gesso here to build the layers back up, to fill in any holes. So it's getting pretty smooth at this point. Yeah, it's taken me a few layers, and the food dehydrator is definitely speeding things along. Now, I'm going to use a 400 grit as I want to really start to make this thing smooth and surface this thing. And it's got enough coats on it to where I can just sand it, hopefully all in one shot. And I'm finishing here with 600 grit. So I'm pretty pleased with this. It's very nice. It's very smooth. And it's comparable to an automotive rattle can finish. I want to stay in the eco-friendly, water-based world. So I'm going to try to dye this part. And I just want to get it to be a little gray. And I want to get like a finish like a river rock. I like that concept of having like a rock on my desk or my nightstand and then putting this charger next to it. And I'm going to spray a little bit of dye on here off of a toothbrush and just kind of spatter it on. And then we'll put some more gesso on here and we'll make it look like a textured granite rock kind of thing. I want to avoid trying to spray anything, so we're just going to basically ladle this clear coat on the part and let it kind of drip and flow all over the whole thing and get our nice clear coat that way, and use a brush just on the back side.
Oh my God, it's making it run. Making the ink run. Oh man, it's messing everything up. No, oh man, bummer. Oh damn, didn't work.
I've washed all the polyurethane off and the dye the best I could, and I'm going to sand it with 600 grit to get a nice smooth finish like I had before. And I've got to go to silver spray paint from Montana. First coat, very light. Second coat, very light. Not going for full coverage. Then the third coat, full final coverage. Gives you a nice finish every time. 2 light coats, then a final heavy coat. Leave it alone, let it dry. You're done. Perfect finish. Gesso as a primer on your 3D models works really good. Takes a little bit longer, but eco-friendly, not toxic, a lot safer. I think the results are quite satisfactory for this level of model making.
Since the gesso is acrylic based, I was really hoping to stay with an all water based solution for this project. I wasn't successful. I realized there's a spray system like this that you can put any paint in that you want and spray it out. You could also use an airbrush. I have an airbrush, but not everybody else does, and I don't have one of these spray system things either. So if you know of a water-based or a latex-based spray paint top coat and a good clear coat that's also water-based, leave it in the description below. I'd love to learn about it and try it out.
Make sure you give the video a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already done so. Make sure to hit the bell so you get notifications every time I have a new video. Also, don't forget to follow me on social media. I'm on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Links in the description below and on the channel page. Rock on. Don't forget to check out the t-shirts and hoodies in the merch shelf below. Click here to check out some of the other design and making videos that I have that you might enjoy.